there, and a very warm welcome to Chazingdra Chat, the show where we take a stroll through the life stories of people in the Pokémon community, discovering the 6 Pokémon on their dream team along the way. I'm Charlie Merriman, merry by name, merry by nature, otherwise known as Chazingdra, a host and commentator for the Pokémon Video Game Championship Series, and a content creator. And this week, as every week, I very much hope my guest and I can make your day merry, because I have the pleasure of being joined by my good friend, Markus Hamann. Some of you might know him formerly as Markus Stadter. Markus, how you doing?
I'm doing great, and before anything else, I want to applaud you and wish you a happy anniversary.
That's so kind of you, Markus. Thank you. That's for the benefit of everyone watching and listening. That isn't something that we talked about just before we hopped onto recording. So thank you for that lovely surprise, Markus. Yes, on the day of recording, it is the anniversary of the channel. Can't believe it's been a year of putting out these episodes as well as other videos too, and thoroughly enjoying it. And Markus couldn't think of a better person to celebrate the channel anniversary with. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, no, I've been looking forward. I mean, I was thinking that, maybe one day I could make it on here, and yeah, here we are. So yeah, looking forward to talking a little bit about you, because I think that, yeah, you've like established a platform to talk about some of the things that we don't get to talk about so much.
Yeah, fantastic. And thank you for those kind words, Markus. It's an honour to shine a light on some of the lesser known stories of people in the community. So thank you for joining me for it. For anyone who's not so familiar with you, Markus, can you give a brief introduction to yourself?
Sure. Yeah, my name is Markus. Recently married. That's why my last name is now Hamann and not Stadter anymore. And that is also something that I still need to get used to. I am 29 years old, but I will turn 30 in just a couple of days. So that's going to be another, big milestone, I guess, or big change. I'm so far I'm not feeling stressed about that. I've played VGC for half my life. So that is since all the way back in 2010 is where I attended my first tournament. And I think that's probably also something we might talk about a little bit. So I've seen it all. I've seen, double battles in all shapes and forms, and I've yet to come across a format that I don't enjoy. I've made a lot of good friends over the years. I've been to Worlds many times. I think it's gonna be my 10th Worlds this year. So a little anniversary there, and then some of you might also know me not only as a competitor but also as a commentator sometimes. Next to Charlie over there, I'm trying to bring some of the heat of Pokemon battles to people at home in that form as well.
Anniversaries all round. Happy birthday to you for a couple of days' time. That's very exciting.
Yes, thank you.
And your 10th World Championships as well. It seems like a very fitting time to be talking to you, Markus. Shall we do this?
Absolutely, yes.
Great. Well, let's kick things off. Let's get to know you better. Let's get to know the 6 Pokemon on your dream team. We're going to start with here. No Game Boy, no problem. You bought Pokémon Silver without a console to play it on.
Yeah, so that's like the story that I like to tell when someone's like, oh, so how exactly did it all start for you? Because like Pokemon is such a big part of my life, and it's been a big part of my life for a little bit longer than the 15 years that I've played the game competitively, because also, of course, before then, when I was a little kid, I wanted to play, and I had played a little bit of like Pokemon Blue at my neighbors, but I didn't own a Game Boy, and so one day there was like a garage sale kind of going on in my little village, and I saw that someone was selling their game of Pokemon Silver for like quite cheap, and so I had my own like pocket money, whatever, and I bought the game, but I didn't have a Game Boy. So then I went up to my parents, and I think this was for my coming up either for my 8th or my 9th birthday, but I was like, hey, look, I got this game and I would really love to play, but unfortunately I don't have a Game Boy, so maybe you could gift it to me for my birthday. So shout outs to my parents, because then they actually went ahead and did that. I think before then they were a little bit hesitant about, I don't know, giving me my own gaming console, but then they were like, okay, he played us. And so I got the Game Boy, and then ever since then I've been hooked on the Pokemon games. And I don't know how it is for you, but I remember the days where I would have so many like stock batteries stored somewhere, so I could like switch them, and I had to play with the Game Boy that didn't have any like internal lighting, right? So I had like my little like lamp that I would use to play when it was dark. So yeah, it was a different time, but I had a lot of fun with that Pokemon Silver, and then kept competing, kept playing the games ever since.
It's staggering. I don't know if you've recently sort of picked up a Game Boy Color again, but looking at the screen, it's staggering how we ever saw anything when we were younger. I mean, with a light or not, I just sort of... It's really amazing how quickly you get used to something like a backlight or how these consoles evolve. So... You said that you had sort of, you'd played on a friend's copy of Pokemon Blue before, right, before you picked up Pokemon Silver. So that's where the sort of desire came from. When you saw that Pokemon Silver in the garage sale, how much of an immediate, oh my god, I have to get that, was it? Was it sort of like, yeah, I enjoyed Blue, but wasn't crazy about it? Or was it just like, oh, try picking it up, you know?
Yeah, I think I definitely wanted to get it. I think the price was also like really, really good. So I was like, oh wow, like even I don't know, like I don't think I was thinking. I mean, I was like 7 years old. I don't think I was like thinking about reselling, but it would have been a good business decision either way. So I was like, oh, I gotta get this. And like worst case, I can play at my friend's place, or I don't know. But I think I really wanted to get it. And I think thinking back, like it was a Game Boy Advance that they gifted me, so that might have like just come out at the time. But then I like that screen was much better, I think. But even that is like pretty bad. I mean, compared to what we have now, right?
Yeah, presumably you mean the Game Boy Advance that was sort of quite wide, not the flip. Yeah, okay.
Yes.
So the flip one,
the SP one had internal light. Yes,
that had a light. The Game Boy Advance, I still think we were struggling there. Okay, and so that was that. Then you get into Pokemon. So you beat the game, and then did you find yourself at that age still? Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I did not beat the game.
Okay.
To this day, I don't think I ever have beaten any of the Gen 2 games, and it is on my list of things that I've wanted to do for like a long time. And I still need to do that at some point. But what ended up happening is I got my badges, and I think I got 13 of them. And then there's this spot where you need to like put on the radio to like wake up the Snorlax. Mm-hmm. And 8-year-old Marcus couldn't do it, and I also didn't have friends who could help me. I think they also had the game, but they weren't as far. And so I just never passed that. So that's how far I got. And I've never like gone back to replaying it.
Oh, that's such a shame. And yet that is 85% of the way through the game, so it's such a shame that you're so close yet so far. Wow. Okay, I really hope that you do get to go back and finish that game, because, as I'm sure you know, Red at the end of Generation 2
I've never made it there.
Yeah,
I was not worthy.
Arguably the most difficult in-game battle in the whole of Pokemon, which is a competitive player. I really hope you get to experience that at some point. Well, from there, now it's time to discover what's going to be the first Pokemon on your dream team. So as a reminder, the aim here is not for Marcus to build the most competitively viable team in any way, though he can do that if he wants. It's up to him how to define what makes his dream team. It's just the Pokemon that have been the most special to him over the years, and I have no idea what they are. Marcus has decided on these in advance. So tell us, Marcus, what's going to be Pokemon number 1?
So Pokemon number 1 is going to be Dragonite. Dragonite joins the team because... So I have like one memory of me watching the very first Pokemon movie on VHS, and there's the Dragonite, the mailman, right? And it's like distributing or giving out the invitations for this like the secret Mewtwo Island. Sorry if I'm spoilering anyone here. But
After all these years, because I still haven't seen it, and I am outraged.
Well, I haven't battled against Red, right?
Yeah, no, it's true. I was joking. I did see that film. Anyway, continue.
That I always thought like, oh yeah, like Dragonite, he's like an honest person, or like an honest Pokemon. He's like working a hard job, like carrying the little like bag and like all the mail. So I always thought that was kind of cool. And then there's an episode in the anime where like Dragonite is like full of rage and like uses outrage, and it's like it's like really upset, and then it also uses like hyper beam and destroys like a lot of stuff, and then it like calms down again. I don't know if you've like seen that episode.
No.
But it calms down again, and then Dragonite's like looking around and seeing all the damage that it has caused, and is like, oh wow, like I did this, and then he's like really, really sad, and then he starts crying. And I don't know, that's just very, very memorable to like. I didn't watch. Well, I watched a lot of the anime, but I didn't watch it like, I don't know, like every episode, right? So I've just have like some memories, and like, yeah, those two, like Dragonite made an appearance, and I really like those. And then also from a competitive standpoint, so I started with playing Pokémon Silver, and then soon after that, Pokémon Sapphire came out. But then it was really with Pokémon Diamond when I started my journey in competitive. And my first, I was into single battles. So I was playing single battles, and in that metagame, Dragonite is a quite interesting Pokemon because it can run so many different sets, and I was always fascinated by, you could use it like as a, like you could use like, I don't know, Choice Band Dragonite. You could use like Dragon Dance. You can use Dragon Dance offensive, or you could use it defensively with like Roost and Lumberry. But then you could also run it like with max special defense and play it like super, super defensively with Heal Bell. And use it like as a cleric, and it had just so many different sets, and I was just fascinated by like how much can go into like training a Pokemon in a very specific way. And yeah, Dragonite was like the first Pokemon that I remember where in Generation 4 I was really thinking about, oh, like maybe what if I had like Thunderbolt for Gyarados, but then also like Superpower for, I don't even remember what, but like, yeah, like, so I was thinking about like different sets for Dragonite a lot. So, and I always liked using it on my teams.
That summarizes so neatly so many different aspects of what spoke to you about Pokemon. That's a really fantastic choice. No, I haven't seen that anime episode that you were talking about, but it sounds like a really sounds like it would hit home, especially for a young viewer. And the fact that it was sort of a gateway Pokemon into competitive as well. And, of course, Generation 1 going right back to when you were dipping your toe into Pokemon with Pokemon Blue. Part of me wondered whether the first Pokemon on your dream team would be your first partner from Pokemon Silver. Do you remember what
I was thinking about it. Yeah, I was thinking about it. So in Pokemon Silver, I picked Chikorita. I know there's a lot of people out there who seemingly don't, or they prefer other first partner Pokemon, but I always thought Chikorita was the best. So I think I actually replayed Pokemon Silver like 1 or 2 years after my failure, and when I like ended at 13 badges, and then I ended at 13 badges again. And then I was like talking to some friends who could help me, but then I lost it, or maybe one of them took it, I don't know, but then I like didn't have the game anymore. So yeah, I picked Chikorita also in my like first replay, and I don't know. I might go with a different one now with Tutor probably if I was to replay it again.
Fair enough. Wow, unlucky number 13, really striking for you, Marcus. Twice there. That's the number of badges you collected before the playthrough ended. I love that you chose Chikorita. Hats off to you as well. I'm sure that also stoked your competitive fire because Chikorita is famously the hardest first partner to play through those games with. But a brilliant Pokemon, and I love it. But it will be Dragonite joining the team. So welcome to Marcus's Dream Team. And everybody, if you're enjoying this chat with Marcus, please do like and subscribe. It really does go such a long way and far further than it might initially seem. And thank you, Marcus, for your support there as well. But we're going to go straight over from there. There's so much more to talk about here to 2010.
Yeah, 2010, my first year of competitive. So things really changed for me when Pokemon Diamond came out, because all of a sudden I was playing with my friends on like the local playground, and we would like connect via the link cable and do the secret base change or like exchange data. Do you remember?
Yeah.
That functionality? Yeah. I recently found one of my games, and I actually found like some secret bases of my friends from then. That was pretty good. I can recommend people to check that out. But anyway, with Pokemon Diamond coming out, now all of a sudden you could trade with anyone in the world and like play against them, and I was so fascinated by that. So that's what really then got me into competitive as well. And then I had played a couple of like online tournaments, but then the German national championships, the second one ever was coming up And I missed out the first one because I was like 14 at the time. So I was like, maybe a little bit too young to travel across the country for a Pokemon tournament, or so I thought at the time. But then when the next year came out, I like had followed some of the results from like Worlds, and I had known some of the people who were doing well in those previous years. And I was like, well, I'm like, sometimes I'm even winning against some of these guys in the online tournaments. So I like, convinced my mother to come with me to Cologne, which is like a 5-hour train ride away. And we like stayed there overnight, just the two of us. And she went there to support me and to give me the opportunity to play in this tournament, which is something that, I'll forever be grateful for, because it really opened the door for me to meet some of my friends that I had only talked to online. And now I was meeting them for the first time. And it was a fun tournament. It didn't go like super well for me, but I remember very well my very first round, where I was playing against a kid who was like even younger, or like much younger than me, and I was using funnily enough, like I was using Lee's team that he had used in another tournament, which was Infernape and Choice Scarf Kyogre lead. And turn one, I would go for like fake out Water Spout, like double KO them. And then I was like, oh no, like I'm winning, but like, oh no, like they bring in Kyogre and one more Pokemon, and I was like, oh no, if I like Water Spout again, I'm gonna like KO both of their guys, and it's gonna be like a 4-0, and they would not have done a single HP of damage, and they never got to attack because I just like outsped and killed them. So I was like, okay, please, I go for Water Spout and close combat. I was like, okay, please survive with the Kyogre, and then they lived the double up. And then they went for Water Spout, which did like no damage. But I was like, yes, they got to attack. Like I feel better about this now. And then I like lost 2 rounds after that. But
right.
It was like not really about winning or doing well. Like back then it was like best of 1, single elimination. So totally different world. But meeting some of my friends, is something that definitely changed my desire also to compete, because then I was like, okay, like wow, I want to be back next year. And then I've been back every year since then.
Arguably more crushing for your opponent there to have got that Water Spout off and seen how little damage it was doing, as opposed to just having the clean sweep. But for anyone unfamiliar, Water Spout is a move that does more damage the more HP, the more health the user has, and so the fact that it was on such low health meant that the damage output was somewhat lacking. And it's the Lee that you mentioned, of course, that's Lee Provost, a fellow caster, and so clearly you'd met each other at this point?
No, we had not,
okay.
But he had posted about his team online. I think he finished like top 4 in the French qualifier, maybe something like that. But like I think he had qualified to Worlds with that team, or he was, I don't know. I don't remember if he actually went to Worlds though, because I think back then like top 4 got you the invite, but only like first and second place got the paid trip. And back then, of course, a lot of us playing, we were like quite young. And like if I finished like top 4, I would not have gone to Worlds, because I was 14, 15 years old. Lee was maybe a couple years older, but I don't think he actually went. But I got to ask him next time I see him.
I think it's one of the joys that Pokemon gives us, the fact that we connect with these people online who are battling with, and then we get to meet in person. And I think, it's... when you go to any kind of Pokemon tournament that you immediately have something in common with everyone there. Something that you could talk about for hours and hours and hours and hours. I'm recalling various events that we've casted together where the same thing has happened, where we've just really unpacked, gone back through the archives of Pokemon. But I believe there was also something you wanted to talk about here, which was actually an online grassroots tournament.
Yeah, well, so just to understand like my situation a little bit at the time, like the tournament scene was so different back then. Like there was like one IRC, like which is an ancient chat program that I don't know if it still exists, but definitely no one should probably use it, because there's much better alternatives out there right now. But there was like this one server, and there was like, I don't know, maybe 200 people on there. And that was it. That was the VGC community, and like everyone like was there. And like they were hosting like weekly tournaments, and so I'm 15 years old, and I want to like play want to play the game, so I have to play in these tournaments, and of course they were not like suitable for my time zone a lot of the time. So yeah, I had to convince my parents quite often to like change the settings on the like internet restriction device that they had set up, so I could like play, because whenever I made top cut, I think I needed some extra time to finish playing in these tournaments, and they would typically end at like, I don't know, like 12 or sometimes maybe even like 1 a.m. So it took a little bit of convincing, but yeah, like eventually they understood that this is something that I was like really passionate about, and it's also something that I seemingly was quite good in, if I like, because they knew that, oh yeah, like he'll only ask if he advances in the tournament, but then it kept happening. So yeah, I was probably doing something right. Like winning one of these, Nugget Bridge is the name of the community for those who were around or have heard about it. It's still quite legendary, I would say. But yeah, winning one of the Nugget Bridge weeklies, like that's still like I guess my first like achievement in VGC, and something that I'm proud of. Yeah.
Shout out to Nugget Bridge. It's so funny to imagine that from your parents' perspective. Just like, what if he's good? what if this keeps happening? Where do we stand on that as parents? But it's fantastic that you're able to get that experience before or at the same time as attending your in-person tournaments, and being able to fuel your passion, but also, of course, the quickest way to get better at something is just by doing it a lot. So I'm pleased that was available for you. And now it's time to discover what's going to be the second Pokemon on your dream team alongside Dragonite.
Yeah, so the second one, and I'm just going to go off of the list that I have in front of me, and I'll just like keep the same order. The second one is Lucario. I think it also, like, I'm a little bit in my mind when I think about like Pokemon that I like. I think a lot about Generation 4, just because I think that might be the game that I played maybe the most. But yeah, it's this like weird where I was still like so invested in playing through the game casually, and then I also started to pick up competitively. And as the years progressed, like the like casual, or like I guess the time I would spend just on like casual aspects of the game would go down, and then the ratio would be more skewed towards like the competitive, like I don't know, breeding, like training a Pokemon, and of course playing. But back then, yeah, I spent a lot of time like in the underground or just like exploring the game, because honestly, I think nowadays I'm all about like, oh, I want to like play through this quickly. But then back in the day, I would be surprised, like, oh wow, like there's a Riolu like hatching out of this egg that like some NPC gave me. Like, wow, that's so cool. I didn't know about this, and yeah, it's like small things like that I think maybe made me like appreciate Lucario, because I never really understood like, oh, is it like a legendary Pokemon, or like what's up with it? But it seemed pretty cool, and it was also quite strong, and also one of those Pokemon where in Generation 4 you could run a lot of different sets on. So it's a little history, but it got in Platinum there was a lot of tutor moves added, and they like really changed up a lot of things with how single battles were played at the time. And Lucario, I think it was through Platinum. I'm not 100%. Might have also been Hard Gold, Soul Silver. They also had a bunch of moves, I think. But it learned Extreme Speed. And so you could do like a Sword Stance Lucario with Close Combat, Extreme Speed, and Bullet Punch. And that was just really, really strong, because, there weren't a lot of things that could switch into like a Life Orb, Close Combat, and then also you had the priority moves. So people started running Jolly Gliscor, which needs 216 speed points trained, and a Jolly Nature to outspeed. Yeah, it's like I played a lot in that time, I think. And yeah, Lucario could also run a Nasty Plot set and be like a special sweeper, or maybe it didn't have Nasty Plot, but a friend of mine, like online friend from back in the day, he was using Calm Mind Lucario with Vacuum Wave. And yeah, it's like, it's not something that I think anyone else used, but he was quite successful also in some big online tournaments with it. And yeah, so Lucario's my second Pokemon, long story short.
Another Pokemon that blends the competitive aspect as well as your enjoyment of just playing through the games. And it is great to hear that you, still for a long time, it was only a gradual shift over to being more focused on the competitive side of things. I'm looking forward to seeing how this team develops. So we've got Dragon and Flying on the team, we've got Steel and Fighting on the team. But we're going to go over from there.
They have good synergy as well.
Yeah,
like Dragonite and Lucario, that was a core I think people used in Generation 4.
Perfect. Yeah, well, the competitive team certainly shaping up. Now, into, appropriately, winning nationals in Germany in 2014.
Yeah. So winning nationals, I think that's like probably like of course everyone's dream might be like winning worlds, but like nationals for me at the time, like that was always something that I was like, oh wow, like it would be so cool to win one of these tournaments, because back then we didn't have regionals, and we only had like a couple of tournaments per year that were official. So we had a lot of like online tournaments, but yeah, in terms of actual like real life tournaments, there was only like 5 in Europe at the time, and they were all like labeled national championships, even though like anyone could play in those. So it could have been like any tournament, but like winning the German national championships was like special, because yeah, if there was one tournament that I wanted to win, maybe besides Worlds, it was the German national championships. And then also it made it like much easier in conversation with people who were like, oh, so yeah, you're doing this Pokemon thing, how is it going? I could be like, hey, yeah, I'm the national champion, right? Whereas like imagine I won like, I don't know, the UK national championships, like, hey, I'm the national champion of the UK, and then they're like, oh, so how does that work? Like, you're not from the UK, right? So yeah, like winning that, qualifying for Worlds through it, and doing it in with a really nice run. That's might be in my it's like definitely in my like top 3, and that's why I put it here as like one of my favorite moments of playing the game competitively, for sure.
So your previous topic, you were telling us about 2010. We've obviously jumped 4 years in advance here. Over those intervening years, presumably your passion, your competitive drive was just growing and growing.
Oh, absolutely, yes. So I qualified for Worlds the first time in 2012, and I did this by becoming second place at the French National Championships. Yeah, it was like weird explaining to people. I just told them like, hey, I like got second place at a big tournament in France. But that qualified me for Worlds in Hawaii that year. And also because I was still underage meant that I could bring my dad as a guardian. So yeah, flights were covered, hotel was covered, and this was like the perfect like dream vacation that I never had up until that point. First time on a plane, and yeah, that's really what then made me like, oh, I need to be back, because I met Wolf on Hawaii for the first time in real life, and we started like talking a lot, and of course I wanted to see my friends again that I had made. And so initially I was thinking, oh yeah, like I did it, I qualified for Worlds, like we're playing like best of one single elimination, like it's so inconsistent, like why would I spend so much time preparing? Because you needed to prepare so much at the time, because there was others who were preparing a lot, but then it was like best of one single elimination, so you could be out basically at any moment. But then yeah, after making it to Worlds once, I was like, okay, I gotta go again. So I would continue playing, and then winning nationals in 2014 was the I would say pinnacle. But then I had some more like really good results. So it was like the first like achievement where I was like, okay, no matter what happens now, like I can always look back to this win and feel like happy with what I had done with the game. But like this is peak Marcus years in terms of competitive drive for sure.
When I spoke to Wolf on the podcast, he went into some detail about how you guys first met, which was really interesting to hear. But in 2014, so talk us through that that winning run, your team, your thoughts going in? Did you believe that you could do it? Take us through it.
So yeah, what is important to know is that this was the first year of X and Y. So we just got Mega Evolutions on the board, and people were still trying to figure out like what are the best ways of using Mega Evolutions. And while it had been done before, I think I was one of the first to like do well with a team that had 2 Mega Evolutions on the same team. Like up until that point, I think it was mostly thought of as, oh, you gotta like pick a Mega Evolution and then you gotta like build around it. But I had a team where I was like really confident in that the fact that Kangaskhan, Mega Kangaskhan, was just like one of the best Mega Evolutions out there. But because it was so strong, it was also used quite a lot. And I wanted to have a good matchup into Mega Kangaskhan, so I had my good friend Gengar, which might or might not also join my competitive or my team later on. And then I also had Mega Mawile because, between Gengar and Mega Mawile, Mega Kangaskhan couldn't do like anything. And so in my testing, I was like, wow, like this core is like really, really strong. And I was believing in it for sure. But like no one was running Gengar except for like one player in Japan who had like done well at a local with it. But I didn't even know the moveset. I just knew that they had used Gengar. And then also the dual Mega. So there was like some aspects about the team that were a little bit unconventional. So I was whenever I'm bringing something new to a tournament, I was like a little bit nervous, like, oh, how is it gonna go? Ended up winning all the games, which I think, I don't know if anyone else did it besides like Wolf at Worlds this year, like going 16-0 in their first 16 games.
That must have felt incredible. I mean, the culmination of so much hard work.
Oh, absolutely. And I think I like wrote this to you in the pre-chat, but I was actually going through a little bit of a tough time at that point in my life as well, because I was like, and I didn't know this at the time, but I was like struggling with some anxiety disorder that I had. But the first doctor that I went to, they were like not sure what was going on, and they thought that, oh, maybe I had like a condition in my heart or something. But I was just experiencing panic attacks, and then I don't know if or anyone who's listening who've ever had that experience, it's not nice, but it like made my chest hurt. And so naturally, I thought like, oh, maybe something's wrong with my heart. So I went to like a doctor, and then they said like, oh yeah, they're not sure, but maybe. And then this was like 1 or 2 weeks before nationals, and I was like freaking out a little bit about that, because I was like, oh, what if I could never, I don't know, like go out again? And I don't know, like I just had like some like dark thoughts, but then. I don't know. I really wanted to go, so I was like, okay, like whatever. I can like deal with this later, but I gotta figure out like a team, and I gotta figure out like how I can make it through the tournament. So I think in doing so well, it also like showed to me that I was like physically I was very capable of doing things, and it also helped me to overcome like some of the anxiety that I was experiencing. And it's just like an experience, like doing so well at a tournament, like winning it all. It just gave me a lot of like confidence, and something that I think I definitely benefited from a lot. Now, of course, unfortunately, not everyone can come in the joy of like winning a tournament, but I think it wasn't like only about winning. Again, I think I could have had the same positive effect from just like having a good time at the event, and like just proving to myself that I could go there, I could like still meet up with people and have a good time, even with the anxiety that I was experiencing at the time.
Well, it must have been a very difficult time indeed, and as you say, just with that national championships coming up, just something that you really could have done without going on in your mind at the same time. But I'm delighted to hear that you took so much encouragement from that victory.
It's not a story that I shared before, I think in any form of capacity, but I thought like now that I have the opportunity to talk about like some stuff like that, I thought it might give like some people out there a little bit of perspective, or if you're struggling with anything really, you're not alone, and things will be better.
Thank you very much indeed for sharing that, Marcus. And now it's time to discover what's going to be the third Pokemon on your dream team alongside Dragonite and Lucario.
Fittingly, I chose Gengar as my third Pokemon as well. Well, little lamp over there. And of course, it accompanied me throughout victories at not only the German national championships, but then also UK national championships the year after that. And it was also, of course, in the Mega form on the team for Worlds 2016. So yeah, those were the Gengar years for me, and yeah, that's the reason why it has to be on my team. It's my mascot at this point, and I think it's one of the coolest designs as well. Like, everyone seems to like Gengar, or a lot of people do. So I'm like always very happy that I had so much competitive success with it.
The Gengar years, I love how you refer to them as that. Now I think about it, I believe it was at the Lille Regional Championships, where fittingly, of course, the theme was Halloween. You were wearing your Mega Gengar pin there, which currently, at the time of recording, is your picture on social media. And it's all falling into place. Well, Gengar, welcome to Marcus's dream team. So, from here, time to go to Worlds 2016.
Yeah, Worlds 2016. So, to just recap a little bit. So now in 2016, I'm now 21 years old, and I've won 2 national championships. I've gotten second at another one, and I'm feeling at the time I was hovering around top 5 players in Europe, probably. Then in 2016, I was okay, this is gonna be my year, or mine or Wolf. We were practicing so much together, and we were chasing that title. But then I got the opportunity to do something that I'm still doing to this day and that I enjoy very much, but that put me at a very difficult decision, because I was I won a regional championship that season, and I was doing really well in the rankings for championship points. But then the Pokemon company approached me, and they were asking me if I was down to do commentary for the nationals that year. And yeah, that meant that I would give up my chance to win a trip to Worlds, but it opened an opportunity to share some of my competitive insights with a brighter, or with a broader audience. And yeah, that was a tough decision, but in the end I decided that I would prioritize casting, because I had been to Worlds before, and I was maybe I can still qualify, because they had changed the system or the qualification methods that year. So I still needed a certain amount of championship points, then you could qualify, but it was clear that I would not get the travel. So I had to pay that out of my own pocket for the first time. But I was okay, it's gonna be worth it. I will cast, and then I will focus everything on Worlds. But then that also meant that, of course, I didn't have that much experience with the format as it progressed. And then similarly, Wolf also didn't do so well at nationals. I don't know if you were talking about that. I still need to catch that episode. But he was running a funky team with Lava Plume. I think that was that year, with Scrafty, Dialga, and Lava Plume Groudon. I'm pretty sure that was that year. So anyway, we weren't the boys weren't doing so well. But then for Worlds, we kind of gave it our all and came up with this crazy team that has been talked about quite a lot at this point. But with the format so centralized and focused around one strategy, which was Smeargle, Xerneas, and Groudon, 70%, I think, at certain tournaments, 70% were running those 3 Pokemon, and it seemed there was no way to beat them consistently. And a lot of players had given up, and they were okay, I can't beat them, so I'll join them, right? And but then Wolf and I, we were focusing a lot about, okay, what if we expected to only play against that team? There's no way that there's not a single team that can actually have a positive matchup into this. And then, through some like inspiration, some things that we've seen other people use, we came up with this unique combination of ideas. Like I think Mega Gengar and Bronzong, like that was something that was out there, but combining it with the like eject button Hitmontop and the Kyogre, and only bringing one restricted Pokemon to the matchup, I think that was like the key idea that made this from like a good concept into like a great team. Like some people, they were doing like Gengar Bronzong, and then they were bringing Groudon and Kyogre. But then if you don't have the Hitmontop with the eject button, which is what we were running, you didn't have the same flexibility, and you didn't have the same level of security against like Smeargle and like Groudon in the late game, because you didn't have Wild Guard. Anyway, we came up with this like crazy team, and and then the rest is history.
The rest is history. In the Wolfe winner had and won that World Championships in 2016, and you finished in the top 4. And of course, in your top 4 game, you went up against Wolfe. I mean, what's going through your head at that point?
Yeah, going up against Wolfe, like that's always going to be like probably the biggest game of my career from like an outside perspective. But like at the time, I was like, well, like one of us is in the finals guaranteed. Like, and to me at the time, and also like after all these years later, like it made like zero difference whether it would be Wolfe or myself who would like play in the finals. And so like, I just wanted to see like either of us win, but I was more concerned, or I was more thinking about, what's going to happen like in the finals, rather than what's going on with this top 4 match.
That's great to hear that you know, whichever one of you it is, you would be happy. Did you feel like I don't know, did it sort of feel like the pressure was off in some way because you were up against a good friend? I just like at such a top stage of the tournament, it must have been all sorts of mixed emotions.
Yeah, it was like a really, really long weekend, because both of us, we started in day 1. And so, we had to like go through, I played, like 7 rounds. So I went 6-1. And I had to play like against like some really, really strong players as well to make it there. And then he also had to play the day 1, going undefeated, as Wolf does sometimes. And then on the second day, we played through 7 rounds of Swiss, and then top 32 or top 24. It was top 24, top 16, top 8, and then top 4. So it like this was all played on the same day, and it was like a very, very long day. And so I was just exhausted by the time. I think when we were done, it was like 10 p.m. maybe. I don't know if I remember this wrong, but it was like very, very late. So I probably didn't play my best, but I was, as I said, I wasn't like that concerned about that, because we had already done what we set out to do, which was get one of us into the finals, and this was guaranteed even from before the game. So I didn't really have anything to lose there.
And then final question on this point: how did it feel to see your good friend go ahead and win the entire thing?
Yeah, that was like the best thing ever, I guess, because it was done. This was something that we had set out. Like I started in 2010, Wolfe in 2011, and then like after 2012, we would like work together. Like we were 2 kids, kind of, right? So we're like almost the same age, but we would like work so hard on like achieving this dream, and to the point where like. It wasn't a guarantee that one of us like could do it eventually, but we were like determined, and we thought that we had the talent and the skill and the determination to like eventually like do it. And so seeing like it would have been a different story, I guess, if I went like 0-3 drop and Wolfe wins the entire thing. Like it still would have like felt similar, I guess. But I mean I can't say. But the fact that not only like did one of us like win the entire thing, but also the other one like got as far as it was possible with how the bracket played out. Like that's just the perfect tournament, and not something that will probably repeat ever again. Like at least not for myself, likely. But knowing that he had won it and that we had achieved this goal that we had tried to go for so long, that was the best feeling. And then also like some people that we had already known or that we got to know more, like looking back, like we had Burish also finish in the top 8, and then I played against Aaron Trailer and Wolf played against Justin Karras. Now I think this was the tournament where we got to know Justin more, so like we didn't really know him that much beforehand, but now he's a big part of our friend group as well. And then and Aaron I was friends with before, so having like 4 of my really good friends in the same tournament in top 8, like that's just crazy.
You teach me and I'll teach you. That's very much the Pokemon theme that I'm getting from what you're saying here. Incredible. Okay, well now it's time to discover what's going to be the 4th Pokemon on your dream team alongside Dragonite, Lucario, and Gengar.
So I'm gonna go with Hitmontop because it fits nicely with where we are now in my career, I guess. Hitmontop is a Pokemon that was on the Worlds team 2016, and every Pokemon that was on the Worlds team already has a special place in my heart. But it was also on the team that I finished second with all the way back in 2012, where I was using a Fighting Gem. That's what they were called, Fighting Gem Hitmontop next to a Zapdos. And so I would typically go for Fake Out and Tailwind on turn 1, and then turn 2 you would have like Fighting Gem boosted Close Combat and Thunderbolt. And I just really like Intimidate as an ability, and Intimidate on a Fake Out Pokemon, like before it was cool. So Scrafty and Hitmontop for Wolf and I, like they were staples on our teams for years. And then for some reason a mighty cat Pokemon also got Intimidate, and now no one wants to think about Scrafty or Hitmontop.
Yes. Incineroar, if anyone's unfamiliar. Fire first partner Pokemon from Generation 7 that has been running rampant in competitive Pokemon really ever since it was introduced. But love to see the love coming out for the Fake Out user and Intimidator of choice, Hitmontop. And a little spoiler here for you, Marcus, but actually on Wolf's Dream Team is Scrafty. So you guys are completing each other in that sense as well. Okay, well, a pivotal part in that world's run. So welcome to Marcus' Dream Team, Hitmontop. Now, completely different kind of topic here. You accidentally became a statistics tutor.
Yeah, I was thinking about this is not something that I do every day, right? Think about what stories like describe me as a person and that are also, I guess, interesting. I mean, I don't know, like you as the viewers and listeners have to judge, but this is just a story that like I wanted to include just something like from university, I guess. And this is also like when I was getting to know Magdalena at the time, who is now my lovely wife. And this happened in like I think our like first year of the master's program, and we had statistics in this first year, and it was one of the reasons why I wanted to study psychology, because in psychology, how it's taught in Germany, you get to learn a lot of like different subjects. So it includes like biology, you have a lot of statistics, you have a lot of like English studies that you will need to learn. So a lot of like different areas. And I kind of liked to not only focus on one thing, but have like a broader topic to study. And so statistics was something that I liked, but that I was also happy that I was like done with after the first year. Because I had taken all the statistics classes, I had done well at the exam, so I was like, okay, gone. Like I'm done with statistics for the rest of my academic career, because maybe I'll need it later in my like thesis and stuff, but like at least no more classes. And then it turned out that Magdalena, she had. Or like I think the prof had like approached her because she was doing like really well in that class, and had asked her if she was down to like be the tutor to like teach statistics like in the afternoon after the class. And she had told him like, oh yeah, like that sounds good, but like I think they misinterpreted this as, oh yeah, like I'm doing it. And so that at the end of the semester what she meant to say was like, oh yeah, like that sounds interesting, like I'll think about it. like, let's talk about it again at some other point, but that never happened. And so she didn't think about it again. And then towards the end of the semester, the prof came up to her and was like, okay, like, cool. Like, yeah, like, I'll like set up a meeting to like hand over all the like documents for the class that you're going to teach next year. And then she was like, oh, like, yeah, not only like did she not want to do it anymore, but she had also already like signed a like working contract for like another class. So she was already like busy and didn't have the time to do it. And so like we were talking about this. I was like, oh, well, yeah, like that sucks. Like, what are you going to do? And then she was like, well, I don't know. Like, I'm thinking like, what if I find someone else who could do it? Like, that would be like a good way to get out of this like situation, because yeah, you didn't want the prof to be like really upset, right? And so I was like, oh yeah, you know what, I could do it. And then yeah, like I was like, okay, like another year of statistics, but that's fine. Like yeah, and then I mean now we're married, so I think it was a strategic investment that paid off.
Yeah, I guess so. How life could have been different had that not happened.
I don't know if I don't think she married me because of that, or at least
you're right,
I
yeah.
hope. but still, like now it's a funny story to think back to.
Yeah, but I mean, how did it feel teaching something that you didn't really enjoy?
I was like, so you know what? So actually, I think this like helped me in my personality development quite a bit, because even though I was only like 1 year older or like 1 year further in the program, like there were some and there were some people in the class that I taught who were like older than me, like they were like glued to my lips, because like statistics was one of the harder subjects, and it was really important to do well there. So I don't think, or I'm not sure if I did like a good job teaching it, but like people were like showing up to this class, like the room was packed, and it was actually fun to like explore some of the problems that I had already, like I knew that I had solved the same type of stuff a year before, but to like go through it again, but then like with the confidence of like, hey, I did this before, like I can do it again kind of vibe. Like I think that was like a pretty good combination for me to just see like, oh wow, like people appreciated me as like a teacher at university. Like that was just like pretty cool. And then yeah, to this day, like sometimes like just like recently I was at a birthday party, and someone I knew I recognized their face, but I couldn't like, I didn't know like where I had met them before, and they were like, oh yeah, like you were my statistics tutor like in uni. and yeah, like that's just it's just kind of cool, right?
Wow, it's amazing that your teaching has such a legacy. It sounds like a movie, to be honest with you. Sounds like yeah, you just sort of end up in this job that you didn't think you enjoyed it so much, then all of a sudden you have an impact on all of these people in your class. Wow, fascinating. Well, now time to discover what's Pokemon number 5. So who's going to join Dragonite, Lucario, Gengar, and Hitmontop?
maybe it would be a movie, maybe a boring one though. I don't know how much people appreciate statistics, but anyway, fifth Pokemon. So yeah, now we're going back to Generation 4 singles battles. Actually though, I think I mainly used it in Generation 5 in singles, but it's Rotom, and I couldn't really decide. I don't know if I have to decide, but I had like competitive success with both Rotom Wash winning nationals in 2014, and then also with Rotom Heat winning nationals in 2015. And to those of you who don't remember, Rotom was introduced in Generation 4, and back at that point, all the different appliances, I think is the term, were Ghost and Electric type. And then only for Generation 5, they changed the secondary typing, so Electric and Water for Rotom Wash, and Electric and Fire for Rotom Heat, for example. And I thought that was an amazing change, and it was a lot of fun to play with Rotom, because it had Will-O-Wisp, which was buffed to 85% accuracy, and then also with the Citrus Berry, you could like take a hit from Kangaskhan, heal up with the Citrus Berry, and then take another hit and then burn it. And then also you had a great typing against Landorus, which of course would like to use like Earthquake, and you had a great typing into like Heatran as well. So it was like, it was not used like that much in this area of competitive Pokemon where like Mega Kangaskhan was so dominant, like 2014-15. But I really liked having it on my teams because it's a little like flexible Pokemon. You can like switch in. It has immunity to ground type attacks, which is nice, and Earthquake quite a good move. And I also like to use Earthquake with my Garchomp or Landorus, so having Levitate Pokemon was always something I really appreciated on my teams.
Rotom. Yeah, you don't. Given that your choice of Rotom was split between two different appliances that it can inhabit, we'll just put the base form of Rotom on the team, I think, and it represents its potential. And if anyone's unfamiliar, Rotom, little electric ghost type Pokemon that sort of represents that feeling of when technology goes wrong. It's sort of inhabiting the washing machine in the case of Rotom Wash, or the oven in the case of Rotom Heat, and getting up to mischief. And as you say, Levitate, immunity to ground type moves, and that means that your ally Pokemon, because competitive Pokemon VGC, you've got 2 Pokemon against your opponents too, can go for an Earthquake, and it affects the Pokemon on the other side of the field, but Rotom is safe because of its Levitate ability. Another Generation 4 Pokemon joining the team as well. So you've got 2 Generation 4, we've got 2 Generation 1, and currently 1 Generation 2. We'll see how that develops, but before we round out this Dream Team, it's time to zip over now to your final topic here, winning the Bochum Regional Championships in 2023.
Yeah, this one has a special place in my heart, just because it's like, as you could tell, like now there's quite the gap between the previous achievement that we were talking about, Worlds 2016, and now we're a couple years later in 2023. And a lot of things also changed in my life between those 2 points. One of which is that I was in this psychology program that I just talked about, like a little anecdote about teaching statistics. And then I also finished this degree in 2020, and I started working full time. So, no more late night sessions playing Pokemon with Wolf and my other friends. Instead, getting up early, working a tough job, and not so tough physically, but like definitely like draining, and requiring a lot of attention in my life. So I wasn't focusing on Pokemon that much. But still, I managed to win a big tournament, and this is in a different area of Pokemon, of course, because nowadays, Pokemon tournaments are much bigger than they were back in the day. We have a better tournament formats with Swiss best of 3, open team sheet, like all of these changes meant that they were just different from like way back in the day. And it's not to say that I didn't have any success in like after Worlds 2016. Like I won regional championships in 2017. I got second at regionals in 2018. But then I also focused a little bit more on commentary. Then, of course, the COVID-19 pandemic happened, which meant no offline tournaments. And but that actually also sparked a little bit of my competitive drive again, because after like third in the world in 2016 and then traveling the world as part of the 2017 season, I was like, okay, like what else is there to achieve for me in the game? Sure, I could like try and win more tournaments, but it's still going to be like really tough and I might not like make it. So I'll focus on like my studies and like other aspects of my life a little bit more. Like then in 2023, I kind of really wanted to try and qualify again for Worlds, because it was going to be in Japan, of course, for the first time. So that was a big motivator for me to really try hard. And now, of course, Wolfe, in the meantime, had become a full-time Pokemon content creator. And he was working on this like team for regionals. And he talked to me about it, and I was like, oh, like this seems like a strong concept that no one else is really doing, with like the Iron Jugulis and the Goldengo, Tailwind and Terra Make It Rain, and then you would have Gothitelle and Iron Hands in the back for like a fake out Trick Room and kind of like really play in a different type of speed game. Or you could also have the Iron Bundle and Great Tusk in the back. So with Icy Wind, even more speed control, and then the Tailwind, you would allow the Great Tusk to do all the work. And there was a team that just like clicked for me like very, very quickly. And so even though he only gave it to me like I think I think I played the first couple of games like 1 week before the tournament, but I was doing quite well, and then he gave me some more advice how to improve even further. And so to like, yeah, pick up this team, bring it to the tournament, and then win the whole thing. While I was working like full time and didn't devote that much time to Pokemon, like that's something that I'm like really, really proud of, that I could like kind of extend my legacy in the game as a player for maybe another couple years. And like I wasn't able to repeat it since then, but hey, it also means that maybe one day, if the like conditions are right again, and if I like am prepared well with a team that is strong, then maybe I could do it again. And this is kind of the mentality that I'm now going into tournaments. Like it's okay if I don't win, but I want to be in a position where I could win, right? And before proving to myself that I could win one of those big tournaments, I wasn't really sure if I believed that I could actually just show up and win, because you have like so many really, really strong players who are like maybe focus on the game as like streamers or like YouTube creators, and they're also just so good. Like a lot of the players who are on top here in Europe, they're just like so strong, right? So being able to win a tournament in this era was a great feeling and a great win.
Pokemon tournaments are just getting more and more difficult as more and more interest soars, and we love to see it, but it really does add to the accomplishment you made there. It goes to show that all sorts of factors go into a potential win like that. Yes, you were really busy outside, and yes, you only got that team the week or so before the tournament, but the fact that it just clicked for you, and it really speaks to each trainer finding their own playstyle.
So it was the tournament was in the same venue as German Nationals in 2014. So two of my career highlights happening in the same venue is kind of cool as well. And I also reconnected with a bunch of friends that I was playing with like all the way like back in the days, who were from the Bochum area, who were coming out, and I like got to see them over the course of the tournament. So that was also great. Has a special place in my heart, the lovely city of Bochum.
A full circle moment for sure. And just briefly now, thinking about you in the present day, between 2023 and now, what's been your mindset?
Yeah, of course, a lot has happened. Worlds did happen in Japan, and I was a part of it. It didn't go like as well as some of you maybe also saw in the Road to Worlds documentary. So I was saying how like Worlds in Honolulu was something that like dragged me into the game, and then having the opportunity to be a part of Road to Worlds, this docu-series, is something that I was like, okay, like I cannot like let this go to waste, so I need to like qualify again for Worlds, of course, if I was being featured there. And then also Worlds being in Hawaii again also meant that I was going back to the place where it all started for me in 2012. So that kind of like kept my competitive fire burning for another season. And I was like, okay, like I'll try the best that I can to do well at Worlds again. And this is something that I wasn't really doing for quite a while, I guess. So I was like after 2016, I think, like for Pokemon, Worlds was always the tournament that I cared about the most, and was also the one that I would prepare for the most. But I would never I didn't like go out of my way like I used to when I was younger to like sacrifice time on other things to spend on preparation. And then, but now I'm like, hey, like, you know what, like, why not? Like, let's do it. So that's what I did for the last season. And then for this season, now I recently got married, hence the new name. And I recently also started a new job, which, is like a little bit of time is used to getting into it. But then I'm hoping that it can, in some areas, it's not like relaxing, but in some areas it can be a little bit more chill than my previous job. I've come to the kind of mindset that I'm like, hey, like why should I ever like stop playing Pokemon competitively, and why should I like stop aiming high at tournaments? Like maybe I won't like qualify for Worlds every year, but I can still try, and it can still be fun even if I like don't make it there. And so this season I guess I like accidentally qualified for Worlds, as you were saying. I wanted to focus a little bit more on commentary, And also with the change of the qualification system, I thought like, yeah, it might be a little bit too tough to aim for the top 75 in Europe. But then, yeah, like a couple of the tournaments that I played in, they were going pretty well. Like nothing like super crazy, but like top 16 and 2 top 32 results, and then also fourth in one of the global challenges. So like, yeah, like I feel like I still got it to at least to qualify, right? And so now I'm like, okay, like now we have the format for Worlds as well, Regulation I, or I think I don't know if it's confirmed that it will run until August, but that's I guess what, if it's not confirmed, it's what everyone believes. I haven't played a single game yet in that format, but yeah, like I'm looking forward to trying out that format and to preparing for Worlds. And my wife, Magdalena, she's finishing her training to become a psychotherapist. So that's something that she has going on this year, where like it's a final exam that she also will study for. And so like in my mind, I'm like, okay, like she will study for that and I will like prepare for Worlds. Let's see how that goes. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with where I am in life in general, and also in terms of competitive Pokemon, I would say.
Oh, that's brilliant to hear. And we'll be taking more of a dive into your Road to Worlds experience in just a moment, Marcus, but now it's time to round out this dream team. So who's going to be Pokemon number 6?
Yeah, I was also writing down like which generations each Pokemon is from, and I was like, oh yeah, like generation 1, 2, 4, 4. And then I was like, oh wait, like this one, like, yeah, it's a little bit more recent. So the last one is going to be Iron Jugulis. I always like to like pick my like Pokemon that represent me from like based on experiences that I made with them in like a competitive setting. And yeah, for like somehow Iron Jugulis is like the Pokemon that one could associate with me the most. Like if I was starting in like if I started playing Pokemon in, I don't know, any year after 2016, and this was like my looking back, then maybe Iron like Jugulis is like quite up there because it's a unique Pokemon, and I've used it to good success multiple times. So I used it to win Bochum. We just talked about that. And I also used it this season to get top 16 in Birmingham at regionals. And then I also used it on my team at EUIC this year. And yeah, so I used it in a couple of like different teams. It's like, it's not as like high up there as Gengar, but still like, I think it's I don't know if anyone else has like 2 like top 16 or better with Iron Jugulis. Because yeah, it's not like that good maybe, but it's like good enough if used on the right team under the right circumstances.
Yeah, and that seems like the hallmark of a signature Pokemon to me, Marcus. Iron Jugulis swoops its way on, and so this means, Marcus, that your complete dream team is Dragonite, Lucario, Gengar, Hitmontop, Rotom, and Iron Jugulis. Thank you. Yep. Spanning right from Generation 1 right up to the present day in Generation 9 with Iron Jugulis. Now I have to ask you, which of these Pokemon are you going to choose to be your partner Pokemon?
Yeah, it's on the shelf behind me. It's gotta be Gengar.
The spoiler that was lurking there behind you all along, providing its cheeky grin and saying, I know you're going to choose me. And here it is, on the Dream Team here as your partner Pokemon.
A fun fact about Gengar, actually, so I was talking about how I used it in 2014, win Nationals. 2015, win Nationals. 2016, Mega Gengar, third at Worlds. 2017, I used Gengar at the first EUIC, and I went 8-0 into 8-1 on day 1. And I think it could have been another like good run maybe with Gengar, but then I had the wrong nature on my team sheet on my Gastrodon. So, and the punishment for that was they would remove the Pokemon. Oopsie. So yeah, then I didn't do so well on the second day.
Oh no. But Gengar's been right there beside you the whole way. And now a different kind of question for you, Marcus. If you were a Pokemon, what do you think you would be?
That is a very good question. I do not have an immediate answer for that one.
No, that's fine. We can think about it. I mean, what type do you think you'd be?
Maybe a normal type.
Normal. think you're normal. Okay. I mean, my go-to there would have been psychic. I think.
Maybe normal psychic is what I was thinking about, actually.
Yeah, normal psychic.
Yeah, I studied. Yeah.
What I like about what you say about normal is that normal strikes me as quite chill, and I think you have quite a calming aura about you. So normal psychic. This means we're looking at like you're in Didi's Orangaroo, maybe.
Frigoraph.
Frigoraph. That's true. Yeah. You're quite tall. Which of those are we leaning towards? I'm leaning more towards Girafarig or Frigoraph, actually, just because of the aura that you exude.
Yeah,
what do you think about that?
Maybe that's what I'll do. I'll do Frigoraph, Zapsipper, Frigoraph.
Yeah. Okay, well, what do you all think? Do you agree Markus would be a Frigoraph? Let us know in the comments. We'd be fascinated to read. And speaking of you all, it's time for your community questions. I post online, as I always do, asking for questions for Markus. Thank you so much for submitting them. Apologies that I won't be able to feature all of them, and I apologise if I mispronounce any of your names or handles. But, okay, so to kick things off here, as you mentioned earlier, Markus, Demo VGC, tell us more about the Road to World series. Did you feel additional pressure to deliver good results?
Yeah, so we did this post show after the series that you can watch on the official Pokemon YouTube channel. So yeah, there I go into a little bit more depth of my thoughts about the project as a whole. But it was like really exciting being a part of it. It's something that I've wanted for the game for quite a while. Many years ago, I was a big fan of some of the Smash documentaries to kind of like have a look into a different scene and to like understand like some of the dynamics of what's going on there. Back then, I have always hoped that we would get something similar for VGC. And so when it was I was invited or I was asked to be a part of it, like that was like really exciting for me, and I had a lot of fun being part of that project. It did come, with some additional pressure as well, potentially. I mean, firstly, it's like just unusual that there's like a bunch of people hanging out and like watching you with their cameras and also like sometimes like with a microphone. So it was different. I think I got used to it after like a couple of like shoots that we did, but of course, like if they didn't like put extra pressure on me, then maybe I did, because I was like, oh wow, like now I want to like show everyone what I can do, and then I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh, I lost again. It
must have been such a strange experience. I look forward to... thank you for reminding me. I actually haven't checked out that post-show discussion, so to speak, that you did about the series. So I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, Road to World, the docu-series that came out in 3 parts, charting you, Wolf, Necro, Rosemary Kelly, caster, and Lou Actress, Chromie, another caster.
Over the course of one season. The entire cast on your show.
That's true, yeah. With you now, I featured every single person on the show. So thank you for that indirect promotion for those other episodes as well, because they will be on the channel. Yeah. Really fascinating experience. Thank you very much for that question, Demo VGC. Again, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Now, a question here from DeWobblefat, or Leonard Craft III. Really interesting. Do you prefer playing Pokemon casually in German or in English? And did you prefer doing narrated YouTube content in German or in English? Which, I guess, necessitates you telling us a little bit about that content that you did.
Yeah, so, like playing-wise, I was playing in German up until Generation 5, I think. And then I switched to English just because it's, like, more aligned between, like, how I would talk about the game, right? Like... When I was talking about like a certain move, I would say like, oh yeah, like this is like Thunderbolt, and I wouldn't say like, oh yeah, this is Donner Blitz. So I would always talk about the game in English, and also a lot of the friends that I would talk to, they were English speaking, so it made sense to also play the game. So yeah, like I'm always playing in English nowadays. So it was always kind of like I always felt like I could express myself better in German, but of course, a lot of the VGC community at the time was like more spread out, and so English is more accessible. So I tried doing like some German videos, but it also felt a little bit weird, because then back in the day, I think the German YouTubers who were doing Pokemon content, they would use the German names of the moves and everything. And I tried to do that and I couldn't do it, because I just like didn't remember like a lot of the moves and stuff. And also my game was in English. So I actually like it's a funny question, or like it's a good question, because that is actually one of the reasons why I didn't continue like doing German content on YouTube, because I was like, well, I'm playing in English. I don't even know the moves. Like, yeah, like what's the point? But I think nowadays I would feel like maybe, I don't know if, I guess there's not enough people. Maybe there are enough people interested into VGC nowadays that it could be like a more like competitive angle. But like back then, like I wanted to do like a more like competitive angle with some of my YouTube content. So I thought that, yeah, with English, I would have a bigger audience.
Really interesting for anyone who wasn't familiar with the fact that you did used to do YouTube content. Is there something you consider doing again?
You know, like every now and then, like I have a list of like video ideas that I think could do like really, really well. And that I'm like, oh, like if I ever like made those, I think they could be big. But now like Wolf, like he didn't know about this, but he also like now I think Wolf has, I think he made like videos like two of the same concept that I had like come up with like 2 years ago or something. Like he has made in the meantime. So now I'm like, okay, well, like it doesn't have to be me who's making them. I just think it's like interesting, like videos that I think would be cool if like anyone made them, right? But like, yeah, you know, like maybe I'll be back. I mean, I started doing some content, of course, with my own podcast that I'm doing with Aaron Zhang, VGC Reflections, little ad here.
Go ahead.
That's cool. Yeah, so yeah, I am back on YouTube with that series. Yeah, you know, like maybe one day.
Yeah, and similar to your approach in Worlds 2016, as long as one of you wins, as long as one of you is putting out that content.
Yep.
Well, thank you very much for that question, Leonard. Now, again, pronunciation, not sure, but we'll go with Bushido Brown 3952. How would you approach finding a group of friends to build and test with as a newer player?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I think it's like similar to like imagine you're visiting a friend in another city, and then you're asking like hey, like what's a good hotel in your city, and then they're like, well, I don't know, like I never like stay in a hotel whenever I'm in the city because I'll sleep in my own place, right? Similarly, like I have a lot of friends from the VGC community, but I don't know if I'm like a good person to ask for advice on how to like make new friends, because yeah, back then, of course, things were different, and I met a lot of my friends I met like 10 years ago, when the community was much smaller, and when you just like oh, like they're my age, like let's talk, like that's just how it went. Yeah, I think one like great way that I still form friendships through Pokemon like these days is through my local community. So I think like just going to your locals, like there you have this like smaller kind of environment where it's like it's not as overwhelming maybe as in like some of those big tournaments like regionals. And yeah, at my local tournaments, I've recently made new friends because like, yeah, like as we were saying in the very beginning, like Pokemon is a hobby where you already have something you can talk about with this other person. And maybe you can start like talking about Pokemon and then just like feel out like what's the vibe like, and then you can maybe think about, okay, do I want to like take this conversation maybe to other topics besides Pokemon as well at some point, and just see how it goes. But yeah, it's a good conversation starter. It's fun to talk about Pokemon, at least to me, probably to you as well. And so yeah, I can only encourage everyone to like go out to their local community and like. Usually, whenever I'm going to like a big tournament, like a regionals or like traveling abroad, like I wouldn't want to be on my own. So I'm always trying to see, like which of my friends is going. But to my local tournaments, I'm like, hey, like it's just one day, right? I don't need to travel that far, and like I'm sure like someone cool will be there that I can talk with, even if I don't like discuss it with them, or even if I never like talked to them before. So yeah, that would probably be my recommendation.
Yeah, it's all about taking that first step. Thank you very much for that question. And our final question here from, again, apologies for pronunciation, Amagi VGC, EIMAGI VGC. how does one balance working in consulting, having a wife and family, all of that with being on top of the game? Are there any routines or time slots that you have that are dedicated to VGC?
Yeah, so well, for me, it goes in waves. So like, for example, right now I don't have a big tournament coming up, so I'm not playing Regulation I at the moment. I haven't played a single game. I don't have the time. I'm focusing on other things. But whenever I do have a tournament coming up, then I would try to like block time in advance, like similarly how I would do at work. Like put in like a working blocker in my calendar so colleagues know, like he wants to focus on something, like it's not a good time to call them now. Similarly like that, I would look into my calendar and I would be like, okay, there's this tournament, so like let me block the weekend beforehand so I can like make a final team selection. And then I would also like go in and like block evenings, because like Magdalena and I, we have a shared calendar, and so like I still want to spend time with her, obviously, but I like if a tournament is coming up and I'm like, hey, like I'm like spending a lot of time at this tournament, and I'm also spending like money and resources to go there, so I also want to be prepared at least to some extent, and this just needs time. So I would try and like block some evenings, and even getting in like a little bit of like just a couple of practice games helps to just like get going, and that helps me to like I want to try out different teams and then pick something that I like. Like that's how I go about it these days, and then I just trust myself to like hopefully play well on the day. And then the second aspect that really helps me is I've said it before, but my friends. As we talked about with the Iron Jaggerlist team for Bochum, like Wolfe is a big inspiration and a big help in terms of like for like I can always like talk to him about directions, like, or maybe he has a team that he's working on, then or maybe he observed like a metagame trend that we could exploit. So then that's very helpful. And then I'm fortunate enough that also some other friends. So for example, recently for the Stockholm regional, I was talking to a Boric, another German player, and he was kind enough to like share their team and also some of the game plans with me, because they weren't going to this tournament, and I knew that they weren't going to any other tournament. So I was like, hey, like your team looks kind of strong, and then they were like very, very helpful. And so then I didn't have to do like all the work by myself, but I tried to like work smarter, not harder, you know how they say. That's pretty much I think how I'm operating these days.
All about that time management and just enjoying the time spent with friends and seeking help from each other. Well, thank you very much for all of your questions there. If you'd like to submit a question for a future guest on Chazingdra Chats, then @Chazingdra is the handle that you need. Across all the socials, that's where I post the call-outs for questions for my guests. I'd love to hear what you'd love to hear. So then, Marcus, we've heard a lot about you up to now, but what's next for you?
I will definitely not play in anymore. Like that's done for the season for me, and I hope that it's enough for me to qualify for Worlds. But then I should be at Worlds one way or the other, because I was checking flights recently and they look quite affordable. So I think I'll probably book something soon, and then even if technically you can never be sure until like the final like League Cup or whatever happened. With how the qualification system works this year, but I'm confident enough to like book a flight, and then I'll be there no matter what, pretty much. But so the next time you'll see me play will probably be Worlds, and then after that, who knows? I said it before this season that I don't think that I would qualify for Worlds. Now I did, and I'll probably say it again for next season. But I think it's quite likely that this Worlds might be maybe the last one for a while. I don't know, but I definitely want to make it count, and I want to win.
Well, okay, really interesting. We will be rooting for you, Marcus. And exciting times indeed, especially as you embark on your new chapter with your recent marriage, and congratulations again on that.
Thank you.
Now, final question for you, Marcus. Looking back from now as a successful Pokemon competitor as well as caster, all the way back to the young Marcus who just went ahead and bought that copy of Pokemon Silver, and lo and behold, then a Game Boy fell right in place after that. What advice would you give to that younger version of you?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think there were times in my life where I would have like advice for my younger self, where I would be like, oh, like do that or do this. But of course, we all know the butterfly effect, and you never know what would happen, right? Like maybe this like one thing that you gave advice on, maybe this will be different, but then also everything else could be different. And yeah, I said it before, but I'm like quite happy where I am in my life right now, and I wouldn't want any advice to like change anything about how things worked out. And I'm like very like blessed with the people around me, with my wife, with just in general, like I have a lot of like really good people around me, so I'm very, very happy about that, and that's not something I would want to change with a little bit of advice. Putting all of that aside, I guess the one thing that I would like tell myself, I guess, like if I knew that it wouldn't have any like bad consequences, might be something along the lines of like just like have fun and like do what you enjoy doing. I think that's like how I live life now, and I think that's also how I mostly like try to live my life. But yeah, having fun is not always easy. Especially when you're also trying to like achieve your like your goals or your ambitions in a game. Like sometimes it can start to feel a little bit more like not as fun, but like harder or more difficult. And so yeah, always also thinking about the fact that like it is a game where you can win some money, and you can like win, and winning is great, don't get me wrong. Winning is also fun. But yeah, you can also have fun without winning.
Yeah, that's all about the criteria that we set for ourselves. Thank you very much for that, Marcus. And the chat does not end there, because now we'll be getting into Marcus's Rapidash round. 15 or so minutes of bonus questions that Marcus has not prepared for. I want to take a little bit of a deeper dive into Marcus's study of psychology, for example. I want to hear more about the VGC Reflections podcast that Marcus started with Aaron Jeng, mentioned earlier in the episode. I want to talk about Marcus's fondest memories as a competitor and as a caster, advice for aspiring casters and competitors, all sorts of things. So if that sounds of interest to you, you can become a YouTube channel member, or you can head to my Patreon, which is linked below. That supports me as a creator, and of course you get to know Marcus that little bit better, and the more than 50 other guests that I've had on the show up to this point. Fundamentally, really appreciate the fact that you have listened to or watched this episode in its entirety, but if you so choose to, then that option is there for you. And Marcus, thank you so much for joining me on the show. It's been really good. As I said to you before we started recording, we see each other quite a lot casting events, but we rarely get the opportunity to have a deep dive like this. So thank you so much for shedding some light on lots of things that people won't have known before.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, and for sharing your platform with me. And yeah, it was a lot of fun talking to you, and I hope, or I know that I will see you again at events, and so I'm looking forward to that.
Hope to see you at some point. Well, thank you so much, Marcus. It's been a pleasure having you. For those episodes that we called out in this episode, if you want to catch up on those, like with the Road to Worlds, the other members of the Road to Worlds team, for example, those cards will be appearing on screen right now, up there, for you to click on if you want to enjoy those. If people want to keep up with you online, Marcus, where can they find you?
Yeah, they can find me on X. I go by 13Yoshi37, and YouTube, of course, and Spotify for VGC Reflections. And now time for a bit of YouTube spiel from this side of things. If you've enjoyed, once more, everybody, please do like and subscribe. Would really mean a huge amount. And drop a comment too, because as with all my guests, Marcus has given us so much food for thought. I'd love to know what you thought of what Marcus has shared with us. If any of Marcus's Dream Team Pokemon picks time with any of your own, what your own Dream Teams would be, let us know. As I say, plenty more episodes of the podcast on the channel right now. Also, if you're listening on Spotify, all ratings and reviews do go a very long way as well, so it would be fantastic if you could leave one of those if you enjoyed. Plenty more content on the channel. I stream competitively as well as casually, including shiny hunting, doing challenge runs. In fact, on the day of recording, going to be continuing my Soul Link Nuzlocke run with Lee Provost, who we were talking about earlier, Marcus, as well as vlogs of the events I cast, silly Pokemon comedy skits that I make. So if you're a fan of everything that the Pokemon video games have to offer, then that's the place for you. I'm at Chazingdra across all socials, X, Blue Sky, Instagram and TikTok. Spread the word about the show. You can use the hashtag 6Pokemon1Lifestory. The episodes of the podcast drop every Wednesday. And with that being said, Marcus, it's now time to get into your Rapidash round. So if you're not joining us over on Patreon for that, then it's goodbye from Marcus. And it's goodbye from me. See you next time on Chazingdra Chats, where there'll be another 6 Pokemon, 1 Life Story. Alright then, Marcus, how are you feeling about these bonus questions? Yeah, feeling good about it.
We will start off with, what's your fondest memory as both a competitor and a caster?
Ooh, yeah, so of course I've spent a lot of time in both worlds, so to say. I think as a player, I really have to give this